Mai hoki mai ki te kaunihero o ngā roto o Rotorua. We have council hearings today for two topics. Today we will start off with the hearing for proposed local alcohol policy 2025 amendment, and then we will have the hearing for the proposed traffic bylaw 2026, proposed parking policy 2026 guidelines and inner city parking review. Just a reminder to everyone that this meeting is being live streamed. We have Councillor Greg Brown who's joining us by Zoom, and we will take probably a short break in between the hearings just to allow people time to arrive. Before we get underway though, I'd like to invite Councillor Wang to start this meeting off with the karakia.
Thank you, Your Worship. Tu tawa mai runga, tu tawa mai raro, tu tawa mai roto, tu tawa mai waho. Kia tau ai te mauri tū, te mauri ora, ki te katoa, haumi e, hui e, tā e ki e.
Thank you. Ngā mihi nui ki a koe, Councillor Wang. So it is my pleasure to start off with our first presenter. We are going to start with Andrew Galloway and Jennifer Lamb from Alcohol Health Watch. Elected members, this is page numbers 6 and 10 in your hearing catalogue, and they are joining us by Zoom. So we'll just get a moment to get them up on screen. But all of our presenters today will have 5 minutes. We do have a 5-minute timer, and you'll hear a little sound when that goes off. And if you are still presenting, we'll just ask that you start to wrap up at that stage. And if there is time, then open for any questions just to help us with the understanding of your submission. So good morning, Andrew and Jennifer.
Good morning.
Good morning. We are hearing you nice and clearly there, and we have you up on the very big screen. So when you're ready, over to you.
Kia ora, and thank you for the opportunity to address you this morning. By way of introduction, ko Andrew Galloway taku ingoa. I'm the Executive Director here at Alcohol Health Watch, and I'm joined by my colleague Jennifer Lamb. We really do thank you for the opportunity to present this further submission on Rotorua's LAP. By way of short introduction, we have talked to the Council before in similar capacity. We're a national organisation providing credible, up-to-date evidence and advice regarding alcohol policy and planning matters. Our team coordinate networks such as the Cross-Council Local Alcohol Policy Network and other networks and projects that support the sector and community. In April 2025, we came before this Council to give our submission on the draft LAP, and we were pleased to see that the LAP came into effect fully into force on the 1st of November. We're here again to support the proposed reduction in closing times for all off licences to 9 p.m. from the date the trading hours policy comes into force, as this change reflects the community preference and is supported by very strong research on the harms associated with longer trading hours and greater availability. These include such acute harms as assaults, unintentional injury and drink driving, but there's also significant health burden and non-communicable diseases from heavy drinking. As the Supreme Court ruled on Auckland Council's provisional local alcohol policy, a 9 p.m. closing time was not unreasonable in light of the object of the 2012 Act, and that bringing the closing hour for all off licences back to 9 p.m, the Supreme Court noted was likely to reduce alcohol harm. The process set out in the Sale and Supply of Alcohol Act ensures that licensees have 3 months to prepare for the change to trading hours. We do not believe that the drafters of the legislation envisioned that LAP's trading hour policy will come into effect in a staggered timeframe depending on licence renewals, and we can't indeed think of any district where this has happened. The standardisation of trading hours and the date that they come into effect provides certainty for licensees, licensing bodies, regulatory agencies and the public, and it creates a more level playing field and enhances the effectiveness of the policy. What is more, the District Licensing Committee and the Alcohol Regulatory Licensing Authority must have regard to a local alcohol policy. Implementing option 1 is the Council's consultation document will clarify for the DLC and ALA that all off-licence premises are subject to the same maximum trading hour of 9 p.m, regardless of individual licence renewal dates. As we noted in our written submission and provided examples, the closing hour of 9 p.m is consistent with most new or renewed local alcohol policies. It is also hoped that the next review of the local alcohol policy will follow other council local alcohol policies and reduce opening hours as well, as we've seen very recently in Hastings and Porirua, who have chosen to have 9 a.m. to 9 p.m, and Wairoa, who have chosen to have 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. It is to be expected that there will be a positive public response to a reduction in off-licence trading hours, as we have seen in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, since the implementation of our local alcohol policy. And we expect that reduced trading hours will have a really positive impact on alcohol-related harm in the district. Thank you for the opportunity to present. We're happy to take questions. Your Honour.
Thank you very much to you both. Are there any questions? Thank you very much for giving the examples of Hastings and Wairoa and other places where you've seen this. Just wondering, given that you have a good national approach, have you seen any places where it hasn't been changed or is still, or there may have been a decision to maintain longer hours where you believe harm is still being created due to that?
Unfortunately, we have. We've seen that in a couple of council areas, and it's disappointing, but we do recognise that local authorities, territorial authorities can be, pressure can be applied from industry and in particular, and those that pressure can be overwhelming. So we have seen councils who have moved to have more restrictive hours and then decided not to do that. But we're seeing more councils choose to maintain the course and reduce hours, which is consistent with what both the Supreme Court has empowered local authorities to do, but also really following the best practice, which we believe is a reduction in hours.
Thank you very much. We have a question from Councillor Patterson and then Councillor Rotorua, and then we'll wrap up. Councillor Patterson.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for your presentation, your submission. Just a question kind of related to this topic, which is the government's proposed changes to the Sale and Supply of Alcohol Act 2012 to allow restaurants to sell alcohol for take-home purposes. Do you think that's going to be counterintuitive to what we're trying to achieve here?
It's a great question. We put in an Official Information Act request on the Cabinet paper that led, or that was mentioning some of those changes. That was refused, and we're eagerly awaiting to see the bill, which we expect to see soon, just to see the detail. So it's hard to comment in detail. What I can say from history is that when liberalisation occurs, and we did see it in the 2000s when convenience stores such as Starmart, if you remember, Caltex Starmarts were around as 24/7 type convenience stores, and they were issued off licences. The court in the mid-2000s made a very strong decision that actually that was part of liberalisation and closed that loophole, and Parliament followed in 2011 with the Law Commission review. I'm disappointed to see that the government are moving to liberalise. There is really strong public support. Over 71% of people in Cancer Society and Health Coalition Aotearoa poll wanted to see more restrictions, not fewer, on neighbourhood outlets. So the changes that are coming we don't support. We've provided our advice directly to the Ministry of Justice officials very early in the thinking. We think that there's a potential for that to be a foot in the door to more liberalisation, but at the same time that's Parliament's prerogative.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. And final question from Councillor Rotorua.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Can I just ask, have you given any consideration to 10 a.m. to 10 p.m? Is it that last hour that concerns you?
It's a good question, Councillor, thank you. The principle of less availability equaling less harm is something that's been pretty well tested internationally and in Aotearoa, New Zealand. What you see at the later hour, let's say after 9 p.m, is more of those acute harms. So you see the fighting in the street or the domestic violence or the acute harms, but what we see with longer trading hours altogether is just an increase in availability leading to those harms across the board. So that can be people just drinking for longer because it's available for longer. Whether it's 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 10 p.m, I think you'd probably see a small increase between that 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. time in those acute harms. But across the board, I'd be comfortable with less hours altogether, and I think that would be a pragmatic consideration, but I haven't considered it fully.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you to both Jennifer and Andrew from Alcohol Health Watch. We appreciate you making your submission by Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kia ora.
Kia ora. It is now my pleasure to invite Dr. Lynn Lane from Te Whatu Order Health New Zealand to make your submission. Please come on up to the presenters table. Thank you. And councillors, this is page 13 to 25. And Dr. Lynn, when you're ready, you have 5 minutes. Thank you. Morena. Oh, and sorry, just push the button on your microphone so we can hear you.
Thank you. Morena. So Dr. Lynn Lane, Toku Ingoa. I'm a Medical Officer of Health for the Bay of Plenty and Rotorua District. I'm here today with my colleagues, Renee and Vinay, who have are both working in the alcohol-related harm reduction space with me. As you possibly know, medical officers of health are mandated to reduce the conditions in our communities that contribute to injury and disease, including alcohol-related harm. Our presence here in person today reflects the level of importance we place on the matter under consideration. Our written submission on the proposed amendment to your local alcohol policy and the comments I will make today reflect our statutory responsibilities under the Sale and Supply of Alcohol Act to promote the safe and responsible sale, supply and consumption of alcohol. The reason that we're actually here in person today, and I note that there aren't any others, is to reflect how strongly we support the proposal to standardise closing times of 9 p.m. across the Rotorua district. Off licences account for more than 80% of the alcohol sold in Aotearoa. Just sliding off my chair, sorry. And are associated with the greatest level of alcohol-related harm. These harms extend well beyond individual consumers and impact the wider community, including our health system. For example, in emergency departments, the staff there report frequent presentations of people with alcohol-related injuries that often require urgent attention, immediate attention. As a result, other patients who are already waiting for urgent care often have to wait even longer. This particular impact is largely borne by older people and children. So that's one of the invisible impacts of alcohol-related harm that we often don't think about. Our research indicates that longer opening hours for off licences and on licences leads to increased consumption and hence leads to more alcohol-related harm, including fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, which I talked about in your initial consultation, several forms of cancer, heart disease, and mental health conditions, including suicide, just to name a few. So it's really serious. We believe that a consistent 9 p.m. closing time across the district will continue to provide significant access to alcohol, with 98 hours of availability per week, which we think is plenty. The current 10:15 p.m. closing time allows for 107 hours per week, so that's an extra 9 hours, so we're reducing it by just 9 hours. Although it's not part of this consultation, we note that a 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. trading period would reduce availability to 84 hours a week. And we talked about that in our submission, that it would be really good to reduce the exposure children have on the way to school to off licences that are open. So in summary, reducing the availability of alcohol is one of the most effective ways to reduce harm within communities. As outlined in our written submission, many parts of Aotearoa are already moving or are in the process of moving to a 9 p.m. closing time, and we are seeing really good results from that. We estimate that nationally more than half of New Zealand's population now lives in an area with this standard. So you're not leading change, but you're definitely looking at being part of it, which is great. The decisions you make today will shape the health and well-being of future generations, and that's really critical, particularly in this area, which is suffering more than others from alcohol-related harm. So thank you for your time today and for the opportunity to present on this important matter. And I also commend you for your courage in revisiting your LAP so soon after putting it in place. And as I said, we think that this fine-tuning of standardising hours is a really, really important thing to do. So we're here to support you on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lynn. Is there any questions? No? You've been very clear, and thank you very much for the submission, and we really appreciate you being here in person. Thank you for your work for our community of Rotorua.
That's great.
Thank you. Elected members, our next submitter will be here at 10 o'clock, so we'll take a short break, but before that, can I please just have a mover and a seconder that the report hearing for proposed local alcohol policy 2025 amendment be received. Thank you. That's moved by Councillor Timara Benfell, seconded by Councillor Wang. This is just to receive the report. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? That's carried. Thank you, and we will reconvene at 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. on the dot, so we will get underway again. Just a reminder again that this is being live streamed. Our presenters are arriving and they will have 5 minutes to make their presentation. We're going to start off with Johan Levin, and this is page 20 of your catalogue. Johan, if you'd like to come and join us. And as he's doing that, I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to receive this report. It's moved by Councillor Patterson, seconded by Councillor Barker. All those in favour to receive, please say aye. Aye. Any against? That's carried. Thank you. So we're now underway on our hearing for the proposed Traffic Bylaw 2026, Proposed Parking Policy 2026, Guidelines in Inner City Parking Review. Welcome, when you're ready.
Thank you. Right, so submission from a ordinary bloke. First of all, I couldn't determine what... I read the information that was sent out about the proposed policy on parking, but I couldn't determine what that would actually mean for people who need to park in the city. I infer that the idea will be to turn more free spaces into revenue-gathering spaces, extracting more money from Rotorua people and further enriching the private company involved. I park in the city for my job as a psychologist for the Mental Health Service in Pukaki Street. No funding is included in my salary or most of my colleagues for parking. Several years ago, when numerous previously free parking spaces were turned into revenue-gathering sites, parking at the hospital site suddenly increased. And while there had previously always been plenty of parks at the hospital sites, both the staff sites and the patient sites, suddenly they were scarce, and I observed people parking there and immediately walking towards town, almost certainly to work for the day. As a psychologist, I'm aware of the varied consequences of increasing stress on people. Having to pay considerable fees to park nearby one's work increases stress. Being subjected to an extortion system, knowing that it would involve increasing fines, charges, and eventual state violence, increases stress. Financial stress and resentment stress. Personally, I resent paying for car parks on roads that were created through our rates and that are maintained through our rates. The joint venture with iPark, I think it's called, has featured parking machines that frequently malfunction. Those like me preferring to pay cash if paid parking is necessary commonly find the nearest coin machine isn't working. We walk some distance to the next machine to find it also isn't working. We can't afford more time walking around the place looking for somewhere to pay because there's a work meeting to get to. Then we waste more time later trying to communicate with someone to avoid a fine. Council people refer on to iPark. iPark can't be reached. There's no standard process to protect people who couldn't find a machine to pay. More stress, more resentment. I oppose ongoing involvement of any private business in this process. I think responsibility lies with council. I strongly oppose any plan to dispense with coin machines. Limiting payment to cards simply puts one more party, i.e. a bank, in the line of profiteers. Coin machines should be maintained adequately so they work properly. I strongly support keeping all remaining free parking places near the city centre. Although heavily used, there are still spaces available usually. They're generally used by people who work in the city, people who spend money at the cafes, lunch bars and other businesses, and who deserve some consideration rather than more and more exploitation. Perhaps a system could be designed to provide parking for workers. I don't for a moment believe claims that paid parking is motivated primarily by goals of ensuring spaces are available or any other form of fairness. The motivation is extracting more money and the effect is increasing our stress and reducing our quality of life.
Thank
That's
you.
my submission.
Are you open to any questions?
Sure.
Are there any questions for Johan? I hear quite clearly your concern, and I can understand that your concern about private companies being involved. Would you be happy if council was more of the manager-operator of the parking system, or are you saying that the parking system itself is flawed?
I'd be happy for council to do the process. They're accountable to the voters. A private company isn't.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. We
Thank you.
appreciate your submission today.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Sorry, I spilled my water here. I didn't realise the table was wobbly. Yeah. Right. Oh, thank you. Cheers.
It's now my pleasure to welcome Dr. Iwi Tefo. Tēnā koe, and just noting that Councillor Timara Benfell will declare an interest just for this submission.
Kia ora, thank you, Your Worship, and through you, just declaring the interest that the submitter is an uncle of mine.
Very lucky. Okay, we are on page number 23 of our hearings, and Dr. Iwi, we welcome you, Councillor Iwi, and thank you for being here this morning.
Tēnā koe, Madam Chair, tēnā tātou e rarunga manaakitanga o te wā. Me mihi kawatua ki a koutou te kai kaunehera o tō tātanei roto o Rotorua nui a ka humata momoi e whahare kia ngā kaupapa o te rā. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora, it's my honour and privilege to be here to submit the submission on behalf of Korowai Aroha Health Centre and also of our GP practices within the Rotorua setting. I sit here before you as the chair for Korowai Aroha Health Centre, and it's been my pleasure to be the chair for over 3.5 years. One of the biggest things that I saw within the review of the policy and bylaw was one of significant change around the location of the meters and the distance of the meters to our practices. This, for me, showed that there was not much consideration in regards to where these locations of these devices were. To help mediate that session, our clinic staff, our reception, actually took it upon themselves to add the app to their phones so that they could help our patients get through the clinic and out without getting tickets. The tickets were getting so bad that some of the people couldn't even pay their prescription fees, let alone their doctor's fees. Korowai Aroha is the second lowest GP practice to offer here in Rotorua. The first one is Ngāti Pikia Hauora, who have a similar area that is similar to us in regards to parking. And the parking for us is huge because our families come only when they're sick. And it's really hard to even get our families to the clinic, let alone having to subsidise all these other means of them getting to see a GP or nurse practitioner or clinical staff within the centre. One of the biggest things around the community safety around this is huge. The safety around this whole aspect around the parking comes right down to the location of what is happening with these parking meters and the people that monitor it. Too many times our people are just slowly coming out of the clinic, going into their cars, and then they instantly get a ticket before they leave. To me, that is just not on. Community safety is a priority for us, hence the reason why we took our own measures in ensuring that our patrons got the best service possible from us. I think it's time for a change. I think that the policy that is embedded into this organisation needs to be re-looked and readjusted. I believe that some of the aspects in the statement of the proposal is definitely needed, and it definitely needs an overturn of who contractors are, or if you bring it back in-house. that's my submission. Tēnā tātou.
Kia ora ngā mihi nui. Mō tō kōrero me tō whakaro o tēnei rā. Thank you very much for your submission and also for your thoughts. Are there any questions? Councillor Sanford.
Councillor Dr. Iwi, thank you very much for your submission. I just had a question, just sort of running a hypothetical here. Like, let's say we were to move to an hour of free parking within the city. What would be the average time of a patient being in the clinic?
You're right, Councillor Stafford. It's, we allow 15 minutes for a consult, but if they're running late, the consults actually go for 45 minutes to an hour in regards to that. So lifting that particular area into our session will at least give them the time framings available to help support their needs in particular. The other thing I need to talk about is that the location of Korowaia Aroha is actually on a slant, and so the closest, so you have to actually walk up a hill to get to the pharmacy and get to the pain part of for the street, and so that was the other inconvenience around this whole thing. And we've only got one paraplegic car park that's on the lane going towards to the pharmacy, so about an hour would be sufficient enough for them to do the consultation, get their medicines, and also cater for if there's a delay in that process.
Can I ask a follow-up question? If we were to move to that system where the first hour was free, would you be more open to discontinuing the cash payment side of it, or do you see the coin payment as being, like, even with an hour free, still an important component of the system?
The coin method works well for our patients, only because our kuia karaua, they don't really carry a card, especially a credit card or a debit card. They don't even know how to use it. They normally go to the ATM machine, put their card into their EPOS card, and then get the money out before they proceed. So coins or that method should remain. Alongside, if there's an hour slot that we can make available, then that would be even a bonus for our clinics.
Thank you very much. Question from Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for your submission, Dr. Iwi. Your Korowaia Aroha is on the corner of Hinima and Ranulph Street, is that correct?
Correct.
So just across Ranulph Street is free parking in Hinimoa Street, isn't there?
On Ranulph or Hinimoa Street down the far end? So if you go straight down the end of going towards where the Rotorua Trust used to be, going straight down that end on Edward and going towards Kmart, those are normally taken up by staff from the city council within the city, and so our patients will need to cross a road to get to us. Again, it's another lengthy time framing for our patrons to actually come to see us. One of the other things too is that by the time they come to the appointment, all of those car parks down there are taken. The free ones that are right down the bottom there are taken right up towards Puero Park, around that area as well. That's all taken before the consultations are actually coming to play.
Okay, thank you for that.
Tēnā koe.
And we'll take one final a quick question from Councillor Rokawate, and then we'll finish with Councillor Patterson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe.
In the research that your team has done there, have they indicated that they feel there might have been some rather heavy patrolling of your area?
Tēnā koe, Councillor. Yes, definitely. That was one of the biggest reasons why I did the submission, was that I saw with my own eyes that the people coming out of the clinic and the meter people were right there, one in the car and one walking the streets, and we were just basically waiting till the person come out of the clinic to issue that ticket. And so to me that was a little bit of a which we took the ticket off the lady and we paid it as part of the clinic because that was just not right. This particular person couldn't even pay for her prescriptions that day. So we've got a good relationship with the pharmacist who will give the prescription on our behalf and that she can pay that off at the next time she was available to do so. Most of our patients do that. The consultations, like I said, we're the second lowest GP practice in Rotorua. The first one is Ngāti Pūkeo, and we both come up with the same issues each time. So yes, you are right, Councillor Harakawate.
Thank you. Final question from Councillor Patterson.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you for your submission, Dr. Iwi Tafau. Just a question regarding the percentages of your, I guess you could say, patients. Would you say the majority of them would be over 70?
The recent stats, we've got 10,500 people registered with Korowai Aroha Health Centre. The recent survey that was conducted and data was our lowest, it's between 50 to 90 is our highest level of patients. Our highest number of ethnicity is between Indian and Māori. We've just entered into another agreement and purchased another GP clinic, and with that clinic involved, we've increased the status a little bit more where we've got another extra 3,500 people to add to our register. So that's the latest data that I've got so far. And so between 50s and 90-year-olds is our highest level, around 62% in the age bracket.
So subsequent question would be, if we were to adopt something similar to the way Whangarei has an approach, they have an exemption for people of their elder people, that they simply apply to council and they become registered, and then they're free parking throughout the whole city. Would that be of help?
It will definitely help my patients, definitely. It's one of those things that if the council does take on board that consideration of that thing, I'm more than happy to support this council in doing that.
Ka pai, thank you.
Tēnā koe, Councillor.
Thank you very much. Ngā mihi nui ki a koe, tēnei rā.
Tēnā koe, Madam.
Thank you. We now go to page number 24, and I'd like to welcome Puti Mareroa to make her submission. And we do have 5 minutes for you to speak today, and just ask that you push the button on the microphone. And when you're ready, we're in your hands. Thank you.
Tēnā tātou katoa. Mihi ana kia koutou I tēnei wā. I work for Te Kura o Te Aho Pounamu, so that's the correspondence school, and I am in charge of the kids with a disability. So for me, the big thing is the parking, creating that access for their diverse needs and accessibility. We're down the far end of Haupapa Street, and there is only one disability park outside the building that we have. So most times that disability park, because we're 1277 Haupapa Street, so we're right next door to the chemist, that physio and the doctor. So that disability park is always occupied. So we can't have our parents come in to our building because where would they park? There is no other. I counted the number of disability parks up our end, one at our end, and there's 2. I walked right down the street, and there's 3 down the side of Haupapa Street. So it's quite a mission for our parents. So they don't come because of the parking issue. So for me, that whole equity of access is an issue. What I love down our end, so everything's not negative for me. I love the pink zone that you've got down there. However, that's probably what I'd like to see more of, the pink zones in the inner dense part where the businesses are, because I saw the girl at Ahu get so many tickets because of her own car, because she can't park, she parks outside her where she works. And I thought, well, why can't they increase the pink zone right in the where the businesses are? So that you were talking about the 1 hour parking, so that would be good if we had more pink zones in those other areas, because I haven't done a really good research, but the pink zones seem to be on the outer fringes of the city, of the business area. So I would appreciate seeing more pink zones. I'm in agreement with the people about the privatisation of the parking. I would love to see it come back. And also, you know, Ngāti Whakaue, my husband was Ngāti Whakaue, and so are my kids. So it means a lot for me that our pakeke in Ngāti Whakaue, I like the idea about the exemption, because, you know, ko pakeke haere, kare taia te, sometimes it's hard for them to go to the meters, and what I discovered with the meters is even if you move your car in the same zone, you'll still get a ticket, because you've got to move right out of that zone to go and get a new parking time. I know that because I got tickets, not realising that if I just move my car from this side of the street to the other side, I'm still going to get a parking ticket. So kia ora nei, that needs to be made more transparent if you're going to do that. And the other thing for me is kia reo rua mai ngā tohu katoa I roto I tēnei taone. I'm talking about all those signs being bilingual. All our street names are named after tipuna of Ngāti Whakaue. So ko tāku whakamanahia te reo me te whakapapa o tēnei wāhi, kia tūrangatira ai te reo me ngā tipuna e mau ana e ngā ingoa I nei huarahi. Okay? That's probably, I love the QR code on the Wilson parking, because it's better than those machines that you've got. They're horrible. If you're disabled, hello, you can't see the screen, you can't punch the buttons. When the light is shining on it, you can't see the screen properly. So I think it's also thinking about how we respond to diversity with parking and the visibility and the physical access for our people with diverse learning needs. Koina noiho, I tēnei wā.
Ngā mihi, thank you, Puti. Do we have any questions? First question from Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you for your submission. You say you're at the far end of Haupapa Street. That's about where we've got a cycle lane, if I'm picturing it about right. Or is that a block further down?
We're almost Quedo Park.
All right. I was wondering how well the cycle lane is used, or whether that would help your predicament if that were more car parks are available there instead of the cycleway.
Yeah, the cycle lane is down by Boasters, down there. I actually think it's wasted space, and it's actually causing the whole roadway to be narrow. So it would be lovely, but, you know, I don't want to take away people. That's about diversity. So I don't want to be saying take that away, but we need to address some of that stuff in there. The guy that talked about the park, Iwi was talking about the parking. Quedo Park, if you don't get there, it won't be before 7:30, you won't get a free park. So we know that, so we've got to go and find places to park. So the pink zones are, the backpackers take up most of the pink zone, the other side of the street. So there's an issue there around parking. But I think also in front of the pharmacy and the chemist, those are, I checked it on my way down, they're 15 and 60 minutes. So those would be, and we've got 5 that are pink. So, Koina Noel, Anna?
Just one further question. From what you've seen, is the cycle lane used much or not at all?
Not really, and I walk down to get my coffee nearly every day from Boasters. No.
Never see it?
No.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Pretty. I think you've been very clear in your submission. Ngā mihi nui ki a koe, me tō whakaro ki te whakamana I te reo hoki. Thank you very much also for your bilingual suggestion.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. Elected members, we will next take a submission from Omar Onan. And, sorry, this is in the full catalogue, which you will find in the March meeting in Stella, and page 545, if you wish to bring that up. But Omar, welcome, and you have 5 minutes.
Kia ora. I welcome the Council decision to end the iPark contract. That was necessary, but ending the contract is only the first step. The real risk now is losing the momentum or replacing the one flawed system with a diluted compromise. Reform must be completed and decisively. I've spoken with many small businesses, which I have the videos and the people, across from Rotorua and with tourists visiting our city. Their feedback is consistent. The iPark enforcement model has driven people away from city CBD into shopping malls. The result is reduced foot traffic, declining retail activity, and weakening the city center. In a fragile economy, local businesses do not need more checks and balances. They need customers. Profit versus public policy. The Council mandate is to promote well-being and prosperity of Rotorua, not to enable profit extraction private contractors at the community expense. When parking enforcement is outsourced to a corporation whose core objective is revenue generation, public trust erodes. I have personally challenged the system in a court and succeeded. But for most residents, contesting an unfair ticket is nearly impossible. The process is bureaucratic, time-consuming, and deliberately exhausting. Most people simply pay regardless of merit, undermining confidence in the system. The proposed hybrid model, council-employed wardens supported by outsourced technology, may be practical transition, but it must remain transitional. Technology is often framed as cost-saving measures. In reality, constant updates, failed machines, maintenance, and system replacements can increase long-term costs to council and therefore to public. Technology must serve the community, not dictate policy. Payment system must be simple, accessible, and genuinely user-focused. If technology remains confusing, punitive, or exclusionary, reform will have failed. Regardless of who employed the wardens, policy intent means nothing if the lived experience does not change. Tourism and reputation. Rotorua is famous for tourism. Visitor perception, local, international, directly affects our economy. When enforcement leaves tourists feeling targeted or unfairly penalized, the damage extends beyond a single $70 infringement. It shapes their memory of the city, affects reviews, word of the mouth, and repeat visitation. Short-term fine revenue must be weighed against long-term economical harm. The 2025 bylaw review is an opportunity to embed visitor-friendly principles directly into parking policy. This should explicit, not optional or implied. Rotorua cannot afford enforcement practices that undermines the hospitality reputation. I also have video evidence available to support these points. I have submitted photographic evidence of my own recent experience at the Polynesian Pools area, a location critical to our tourism economy. In that case, the enforcement record relied on selective framing, and the alleged breach occurred in an area lacking clear signage. This is not merely a personal grievance, it's a point of law. Clause 4.1 and Clause 12.1 of the Traffic Bylaw 2025 explicitly state that the Council's powers limit or prohibit parking is subject to placing and maintenance of the appropriate signs or markings. Enforcement in the absence of such markings is a breach of the Council's own regulatory framework. Furthermore, our current system penalizes citizens for failures of technology. When machines fail or apps glitch, the motorist is held liable for an offense. Under Clause 34.1.4, regardless of their attempt to pay, this shifts the entire risk of system maintenance onto public. As a council finalizes the Traffic Bylaw 2025, we must ensure that enforcement is not just a revenue tool, but a lawful and transparent service. I specifically request the following safeguards to be codified. Mandatory signage audits. Enforcement must be strictly prohibited in any zone where signs or markings do not meet the standards required by Clause 4.1. Technology fail-safes. Motorists should not be penalized under Clause 34 if they can provide digital proof of a system error. Presumption of good faith, the formal grace period or warnings policy for first-time technical errors restore public trust. And last, accessibility and inclusivity. Payment mechanism must remain accessible to all, ensuring those who are not tech-savvy, including many of our elderly citizens, are not effectively excluded from our CBD by overcomplicated digital-only requirements. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I was just checking, we might just after this see if we can download the videos off your USB.
You're welcome to take them.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Right now.
Thank you.
Excuse my language when I was recording them, and I use your name to be reported directly to you in many occasions. Can we put them on the screen now? So I'm showing the... how about on this TV? Put it right away.
Sorry, we don't have access through USBs, but what we'll do
I
is
have actually sent those emails to IPARC, but they didn't take it at the time of that infringement happened. I'm sure you're aware of my petition that ran in Rotorua.
We'll get the videos sent to all of the councillors, but thank you very much for...
You can also see comparative evidence that I put two pictures side by side, one with the selective crop, as well as my own, and also taking a big picture of showing there is no marking and inviting infrastructure that invited me to park in that spot.
Thank you very much,
My
and
pleasure.
we appreciate both your written submission and also the work that you've taken to get feedback from our businesses. Thank you.
Any questions?
We'll take one quick question from Councillor Lee.
Sorry, it's a question to you, actually, Your Worship. What page number did you say the submission was on? I'm having trouble finding it.
Page 545.
Yeah.
On the full March and on the full.
That's what I'm looking at.
Sorry, 535.
Aha.
Submitter 535.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
so our email addresses are published, so you can email us if you wish to as well.
May I also add that this system that IPARC actually damaged the CBD far more than you're assuming. I've been a business and business mentor into many businesses in the CBD for a long time. Restaurants mostly. I'm sure many of you know of East Street. I was actually involved in the beginning of East Street with the Cafe Ephesus or Crispy Kebabs late. But the main concern that you will see in my videos that are actually affecting city, and also the public that I spoke with in Tutanakai Street or Pukuatua Street, they are the people that elderly mostly have affected with this and not turning up into CBD. Thank you very much. If there's nothing else,
Thank you.
have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Oh, can I have my USB if you download it?
We can't download it right now.
It's all right. You keep it. That's all right.
We'll get it sent. We'll email you,
No,
get
no
it sent
problem.
back to you.
Keep it,
Thank
no
you.
worries.
Thank you.
Still not finding it.
Really? We do have a cancellation from two submitters. So the only other person we're expecting today is Ken Bushinen, who didn't provide a written submission. We haven't been able to get in touch with him, but he was supposed to come at 10:45. We invite submitters to come 15 minutes before. So what I'll just ask is we just chill for 5 minutes, and if he's not here within 5 minutes, then we'll call that a wrap for the day. Thank you.
I'm still having trouble finding the submission.
and see if he turns up. That's only 4 minutes. Thank you. We haven't had our final submitter arrive. Please be assured, though, we have attempted to contact them a number of times, so we will just take that as not attending, which is fine. And we will wrap up our hearings today. So thank you very much, everyone, for your time. We do, of course, appreciate the significant amount of submissions that are there that we will read, but it was really great to hear from people directly in person and on Zoom as well. Thank you, Councillor Greg Brown, for joining us by Zoom. Really appreciate it and look forward to seeing you back in the office later this afternoon or tomorrow. I'd now like to invite Councillor Wang to close the meeting with the karakia.
Thank you, Your Worship. Kia whakairia te tapu, kia wātea ai te ara, kia turuki whakataha ai, kia turuki whakataha ai, haumie, huie, tāi kie.
Thank you very much. I declare the hearing closed.